Okay, real quick. True story. This happened like 3 weeks ago. My buddy, not gonna use his name, let's just say Mike. Everybody's got a Mike. Mike texts me at like 1 a.m., no context, just a screenshot. Some dude, also 27, standing next to a rented Lamborghini in Miami, captions something like, "Built this from nothing. Stop making excuses." You know the type. You've seen the exact post, maybe not that one specifically, but you've seen 100 versions of it. And under the screenshot, Mike just wrote, "Bro, what am I doing wrong?" And I remember just staring at my phone like, nothing? You're doing nothing wrong? Mike has a job. Mike pays his rent on time. Mike has like 4 grand saved, which honestly at 27 is not even bad. But he saw one photo at 1 in the morning, and it undid all of that in like 4 seconds. That's the video today. Not really about Mike. About the fact that basically all of us are Mike now, at least a little. Here's a dumb thing about how our brains work. We know, logically, that nobody posts the bad month. Nobody's doing a story of their overdraft fee. Nobody's putting their student loan balance in their bio. We know this. And yet you scroll for 20 minutes before bed and somehow still walk away feeling like everyone except you figured it out. What you're actually looking at is the exit, the vacation, the car, the closed on our first house post. It's the one good month wearing a costume that says, every month. And look, some of it's not even real in the boring technical sense. It's rented. It's borrowed for the shoot. It's a sponsored trip somebody didn't pay a dime for. I'm not saying that to be cynical. I'm saying it because it's just true. And it changes how you should be watching this stuff. People have always compared themselves to their neighbors. That's not an Instagram invention. Your grandpa did this. Somebody 2 houses down got a pool, and suddenly grandpa's mad about the lawnmower he already had. But that was it. That was the whole comparison pool. Like 12 people, the neighbors, a couple guys from work, maybe your cousin who did well. Now you're comparing your Tuesday to the best days of literally thousands of strangers. People in Miami, people in LA, people in Austin, wherever the content's getting farmed that week, and you've never met a single one of them. And you're still letting their highlight reel edit how you feel about your own life. Your brain doesn't actually know the difference between guy 2 doors down and stranger on a screen. It just registers person my age, allegedly doing better than me, and files it as a threat. Dozens of times, every single day. That's not a you lack discipline thing. That's an the app is working exactly as designed thing. It makes money when you feel something, and comparison is basically the cheapest emotion to manufacture at scale. Okay, let's actually look at numbers for a sec. Because this part's almost funny once you see it. Americans are carrying record levels of credit card debt right now. We're talking well past $1 trillion nationally, and it keeps climbing. Buy now, pay later apps have absolutely exploded, and a lot of that is people financing stuff that costs like $60, $80. Not a car, not a vacation, a hoodie, financed, in 4 payments. A massive share of the country is living paycheck to paycheck, and that includes people who, from the outside, look like they've got it together. Meanwhile, the actual savings numbers for people in their 20s are nowhere near what your feed is quietly convincing you is normal. Not even close. So here's the part that gets me. The guy in the rented Lambo? Statistically, he's probably more in debt than the person you scrolled right past 2 seconds earlier with no flashy post at all. The one just quietly stacking money into a 401k that nobody's ever gonna see a screenshot of. Nobody's making content out of "I'm fine." Fine doesn't get watched. Fine is boring. And the algorithm has zero interest in boring. Here's where it flips from kind of a bummer to genuinely expensive. You watch enough of this, and it stops feeling like comparison. It starts feeling like a baseline. Like, okay, this is just what a normal adult my age has going on. The apartment, the car, the trips. And so, without really deciding to, you start spending to close a gap that was never real in the first place. Chasing a version of normal that maybe 5% of people are living, and half of that 5% is financed up to their eyeballs anyway. That's the actual trap. It's not just that the app makes you feel bad for 20 minutes and then you move on with your day. It's that it quietly starts rewriting your budget in real time. You don't even notice it happening. And here's the part nobody says out loud. Once you start spending to keep up, you post it too. Congrats, you're now somebody else's Mike. You just became the screenshot. This isn't a feel kind of bad, close the app, move on problem. It's showing up in real decisions people make. People putting off saving because they already feel behind, so what's even the point of starting with something small? People going into debt for an experience specifically because they want the proof, the photo, the post, that they're keeping pace with a life that was mostly staged to begin with. There's a very specific kind of tired that comes from feeling financially behind for basically your entire adult life, even when the actual math says you're fine. And that tiredness pushes people towards shortcuts, risky trades, some guy's course, whatever promises to close the gap fast, because the gap feels urgent, even when it isn't real. So if you've ever closed the app and just felt behind, not because anything in your actual life changed in the last 20 minutes, just because you watched a bunch of strangers' best days back to back, I need you to actually sit with this for a second, not just nod along and keep scrolling. You didn't get worse at money. You got shown a version of everyone else's life that was never built to be accurate. It was built to be watched. Those are two very different jobs, and only one of them is true. The people who are actually fine aren't showing up in your feed because fine doesn't perform. That doesn't mean they're not out there. It just means the algorithm has no reason to ever show you the boring, steady, actually working version of being an adult. You're not behind. You're being compared to a highlight reel, and nobody wins that one because it was never a fair fight to begin with. If this made you feel a little less behind, subscribe. Next one, I'm getting into how much of what you're seeing online is actually financed and not owned. It's worse than you think.